when Jim Steinman passed away, there was a Facebook post by someone who I know. And he was lamenting the fact that Jim had passed and remembered his work on Bat Out of Hell 1. The guy was never anywhere near the freaking record. There was 4 of us that recorded the basic tracks for that record from top to bottom. It was myself, Todd, Max Weinberg, and Roy Bittan.
We just put up another video, it's like 23 minutes long or something, on artists who were playing on stage with pain or were trying to get back on stage even though they were in pain. Some of them made it, some of them didn't, some of them lived, some of them did not. And we look at 10 different artists in this one. One of the musicians we looked at was Meatloaf. And we were looking up clips of people who might have talked about Meatloaf in our vast library of interviews. And who comes up but Kasim Sultan, who worked with Todd Rundgren, who happened to produce Bat Out of Hell. He talks about Jim Steinman, how the sessions went down, how some people were trying to get credit for being on Bat Out of Hell, musicians that Kasim knew who were not near the project at all, and how they were laughed out of Irving Azoff's office because he thought the whole idea, the premise of Bat Out of Hell, and I think a lot of people would have thought this as well, but we all would have been wrong because I thought it was a stupid concept until I heard it. Bat Out of Hell has sold 40+ million copies worldwide. It's a huge hit, one of the biggest selling albums of all time. Kasim talks some good stuff on this album. And remember, if you want to hear more of stories like this, the link to the full video will be in the description at the very top on Rock History Music.
I don't know where I put it. Oh, geez. I don't usually pull out album covers, but holy snapping turtles. They misspelled your name on this, right?
Yeah, T-A-N. Yeah, my name is misspelled more. My name is on that record more than Meatloaf's. So, but it's
You're responsible for any of this stuff going on here.
Listen,
what's going on here?
The only thing I'm responsible for on that record is helping with the arrangements and the bass playing on the entire record, which, in terms of what are some of the highlights of your musical career, I think playing on one of the biggest selling records of all time is a feather in one's cap. I mean, I have tons of friends who have played on millions of records, but not too many people have played on Dark Side of the Moon, Thriller, there's a Hotel California, or Bat Out of Hell, and then Falling Into You. So there were like 5 or 6 records that throughout the course of the recorded music that have sold that many records, and Bat Out of Hell is one of them, and I'm the bass player on that record, so there you go.
To me, it's kind of like when I heard Carry On Wayward Son by Kansas or Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. And I was a Queen album, a Queen fan. I had the debut album, Sheer Heart Attack. But by the time, and then I hear that and I'm like turning around and saying, what the heck? But to me, Bat Out of Hell was not, I would have been wrong, but I wouldn't have picked that album as being a hit album. To me, that was a good example of people at least widening their horizons a little bit and saying there's more to radio than this.
I mean, they got kicked out. Jim and Meatloaf got kicked out of Clive Davis's office. Clive said, you guys, you should go find something else to do in life because you are never going to be successful. And that's, Clive Davis, who, has a really good ear. To his credit, Todd heard something in that music that no one else or very few people did, and took it and created something or helped create something. It was really Jim and Todd that really envisioned that record the way it is. And now there's everybody's is responsible for the success of Bat Out of Hell. It's like there was when Jim Steinman passed away, there was a Facebook post by someone who I know, and he was lamenting the fact that Jim had passed and remembered his work on Bat Out of Hell 1. The guy was never anywhere near the freaking record. So there, what's the phrase? success has many fathers, but failure is an orphan. You know, everybody's the first one to say, yeah, I did this on that record. I did that on that record. I was in the studio when they did this. No, sorry. There was 4 of us that recorded the basic tracks for that record from top to bottom. It was myself, Todd, Max Weinberg, and Roy Bittan. And then a lot of people came in and did overdubs and background vocals. Rory Dodd and Ellen Foley on background vocals. Myself, I did some background vocals. Todd sang some backgrounds. Meat was delegated to the corner until it was time for him to sing, and then we said, "Okay, you can sing now." But it was really Jim and Todd that put that whole concept, that whole record together, and it just resonated with millions and millions of disenfranchised people who did not want to or didn't fall into the category of well, at that time there was no John Bon Jovi, but you know, the idea of what the music industry was selling as a beautiful rock star or a successful rock star was completely the antithesis of that.
One more thing about that. I know that you had said in a previous interview that so Todd calls you and you said, he just said, come on down here. You got to come down here.
No. He called me. I was living with Roger Powell up in Woodstock. Mm-hmm. And Todd had agreed to do this production, and they didn't have a band. Jim knew that he wanted Roy Bittan and Max Weinberg from the E Street Band because the music in his mind mirrored Bruce in a way. But they didn't have a bass player and they didn't have a guitar player. So of course Todd played guitar, and me being in proximity to the recording studio and the rehearsing, and at that point I was about 6 months into the band, and I had kind of proven myself as a worthy addition. So Todd called me and said, "You want to play bass on a record?" Which, you know, even now, it's funny. I'm thinking about it now, and I'm like, he wouldn't have asked me to play if he didn't think I was any good.
I always say, man, you got to do the work to get in the room. You know,
you do have to do the work to get in the room. Yeah.
Yeah. And one last thing, when you went down and Ellen Foley was there and Meat was there, and they went through the whole album for you guys, right?
Yeah, they played the entire album from top to bottom. I'll never forget I was in Woodstock, and I was with my wife then, and we sat there and listened to them. Jim played piano, and Meatloaf sang, and Rory Dodd, who was a fellow Canadian, and Ellen Foley, the Paradise Girl. They not only sang everything, all the background vocals and all the parts that they heard, but they also acted it out. They acted out Paradise by the Dashboard Light in the accountant's office that we were on the second floor of the accountant's office in Bearsville Records, at a little upright piano, and it was a trip. It was a real. I wish somebody would have filmed that.
That's crazy. I had no idea about that part. They had it down. They had it down at least.
Yeah.
The theatrical. Oh, wow, it's crazy.
Remember, if you want to help the channel, you can always make a donation via PayPal. There's links on all our videos. When you join our Patreon, you can join right now. You'll have access to hundreds of clips that have not even been put on YouTube yet. You'll be the first person to see them as a member of our Patreon. The link is in the description. You can also buy a t-shirt or a cap, a whole bunch of clothing with our logo on it. The link is on there as well. When you subscribe, make sure you click the bell notification so you don't miss anything. But comment on our videos, like them, and share them on social media. I'm John Bowden. This is Rock History Music. Take care of yourself.